And we're back. Hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I got a big pimple. It hurt. Hi. Today we have the wonderful and quite special engineer teaser for the next elite specialization and the final elite specialization for End of Dragons. Now this one in particular is a little bit more interesting than the other ones, purely for a color story. So engineer, as we know, typically is represented by a char. This image is a char, but the coloring is tend to be more grays, steel colors, muted grays, browns, lighter browns. It's kind of more earth toned. Now, in the case of this teaser, it is a char and it's the last one, and I do think it is engineer. And the color is very different. It's very green. And if you were to look at this from any other perspective, any other previous perspective, you would probably say necro. Oh, they're changing up the necromancer and it's now represented by a char and it's green. But no, we already got necro. It was the second one to be announced. So in this case, it's definitely led me down a different road, a more interesting road than the other professions that we have seen teased so far. We do have this club-like thing that they seem to be holding out. Could be a blunt weapon such as mace, but aside from that, I'm not necessarily interested in that. I'm interested in other things that we have already previously seen that might give us an indication as to what this elite spec is going to be about. So with the green and with it being in Cantha, we get this idea of the Jade, and we know that the Canthans have been utilizing the Jade to progress their technology, to better their lives, and to use it in new and different ways. So I think engineer, with it being so focused and streamlined into that technology area, I think that engineers in Cantha are going to be heavily utilizing the Jade Tech. I mean, hell, Catalyst utilized the Jade Tech spheres, so this only means that engineer probably is going to go full steam ahead with the Jade. Now, in terms of the callback from what we've previously seen in the Xingje live stream during the training area, we did get a glimpse of an untextured mech. It was a training mech. It didn't have any texture to it. It had a different model that wasn't fully elaborated upon, and I think that was because they weren't going to spoil that. But if you notice during the actual combat training where you have to break the break bar, there is a green bubble around it, a green almost like jade energy bubble. And I think with this teaser, because it is green and because that mech was using some green stuff, I do think we might see an engineer spec that utilizes mechs. Either they get into the mech, or the mech is some sort of pet that they control. Maybe the F5, they are allowed to then go into the mech, kind of like a similar but reversed Soul Beast situation. Instead of the pet coming to you, you go to the pet. And I think that'd be really cool, and it would kind of fulfill this Golemancer-esque fantasy that I know a lot of people have been desiring to play. Asura, if you are an Asuran, maybe this will be your time to shine and be like, oh, I get to create mechs and golem-esque things that aren't necessarily Asuran, but hey, you gotta kind of be flexible with these situations. But in terms of the niche that engineer doesn't really fulfill, I've heard that, because I don't play engineer, I've heard some engineer players say that they really would like some long range abilities, some condition abilities, and maybe like healing. Though Scrapper is pretty great at group support in terms of quickness and super speed. You could pop a med kit on that as well and just go to town with the healing, but maybe something a little bit more expansive. But particularly with like long range, as I know that the other engineer elite specs have all been pretty much melee focused. Now with this, I don't know if it is going to be super long range. I mean, they could do a couple things if this does happen to be a one-handed weapon that looks to not look like a scepter. You could have things like with the dredge where they like use it as like a sonic thing where they bang on a shield or bang on the ground for sonic stuff. Not exactly sure, but we'll have to see how they approach the weapon, if they are going to adapt and change it in any interesting and new ways. But that is the engineer teaser for Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. Next week, we're actually getting the teasers, and then on Friday, we have the very full live stream going over all three of the elite specs for Thief, Ranger, and Engineer. So mark your calendars, and then the week after that, so 2 weeks, we get to actually play them for ourselves. So thank you everyone so much for coming. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below your thoughts on this teaser. Subscribe for more Guild Wars 2 videos. I have links down below if you'd like to pre-order the 3rd expansion and a Dragons Patreon as well. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye everyone! Mwah.